This is an introduction to FlashMatch Chinese 1 free. If you're watching this on a laptop or desktop computer, you'll need to tilt your head to the left because it was designed to be viewed in portrait mode on a phone. FlashMatch is a combination of a matching game and a flashcard presentation tool. It's a language learning aid really, but it tries to add an element of entertainment to keep you interested and keep you learning. I'll tap through the title screen and the introduction. The first thing you need to understand is that FlashMatch isn't a traditional matching game. In a traditional matching game, you match up identical tiles. Now, you can still do that in FlashMatch, but you can also do many more interesting things. In FlashMatch, you match up corresponding tiles, and you define the content of those tiles. Let me show you. Here on the Matching Game Settings tab, you can see the current card settings. One card will be presenting a simplified Chinese character and speaking the word in Chinese, Mandarin Chinese. Now this is the real voice of an actual native Chinese speaker from Beijing, not a computer simulation. The second card will display the Pinyin and English words that correspond to that simplified Chinese character, and that word will be spoken in English. And again, this is a real voice of a native English speaker, not a computer simulation. What makes FlashMatch so useful as a learning tool is the level of customization possible. Here you can see the options for the cards. Each card can display either a simplified Chinese character, a traditional Chinese character, both English and Pinyin, both Pinyin and English. The only difference there is which one appears above the other on the tile. Only Pinyin, only English, or it can be blank. Now, to understand the purpose of the blank tiles, you have to look at the second option you have for each card. The card can also speak. The voice for the card can be Chinese, English, or it can be silent. The only combination of options not available is blank and silent because that wouldn't make sense for a matching game. So the purpose of the blank option is to allow you to match up tiles purely by sound. This is particularly useful when learning Chinese because the tones are so difficult for English speakers to distinguish. After you've made your selections for the card, you can return to the previous screen by either tapping the Finish button at the bottom or by pressing the back button on your phone, which could be located either here or here. It looks like an arrow bent back on itself. Besides selecting the content of each card, you also need to select the number of cards to play with in the game. At the top of the matching game settings screen, you see a drop-down box letting you select the number of words to play with. Now, this may be different on your phone. The number actually comes from the size of your screen. I try to keep the tiles at roughly no smaller than 1 centimeter, and you can see here on the screen the actual size the tiles would be for that selection. I try to use as much of the screen as possible, so the more words you play with, the smaller the tiles will be. Besides selecting the number of words for the game, you also need to select the pool from which those words will be chosen. For the pool, you have 4 options. In this game, I'm only using single character and 2 character Chinese words. The words you play with can be selected from all the words, only the single character words, only the 2 character words, or the last and most flexible option, a specific selection of words from either set. This is one of the word selection screens. Just scroll through the list and select the words you want. You can also use the all or none buttons to select everything or clear everything. You might have noticed here that the Chinese fonts are blocky. Doesn't have that pretty calligraphy that you saw in the example cards. The reason is actually that what you saw in the example cards is not really a font, it's a picture, an image. Android doesn't have those calligraphy fonts. We created images for each of the words. The reason I'm using the native Android fonts here is for performance, to keep the scrolling swift. You can flick through this list pretty quickly, and if you want, you can also come here to listen to any particular word. Just click the Listen Radio button and the language you want. Right now it's set to Chinese, and tap the word.
水
To help you find words faster, you can also sort them by English or Pinyin in either A to Z or Z to A order. So after you've selected the content of the cards, the number of cards to play with, and the pool from which those cards will be chosen, you can also select the card back you want to use in the game. I'm fond of this girl under the umbrella holding the cat, but there are 30 different card backs you can choose from. You can also change the border color of the card and the matching color of the card. When the game starts, the cards have a white background. When you match two cards, the background will change to this matching color. The last two settings are for the flip back behavior and the applause. The flip back behavior needs some explanation. Basically, this defines what the cards will do when they don't match. You can have them flip back automatically after a short delay, or you can leave them displayed until the next selection. Okay, let me show you a sample game. Big. You. We. Hello.
大
We. Good.
我们
Big.
大
Family. I. We.
家庭我们
We.
喝
He. Eat. Family.
吃
Eat.
你好
Drink.
喝
Drink.
你好他
He.
他我好你好家庭
Family.
家庭
We. Good. I.
我
I.
你们
Hello.
你好
Hello.
好你们
You.
你们
Good.
好
When you're done with the game, you can play it again, either with the same words or a new set selected from the pool. You can return to the settings, or you can review the cards. Let me show you what that means. You can go over the board, tap any tile you like, and the word will be spoken if the tile isn't silent, and the match for that tile will be highlighted.
吃
Big. You can also do this at any point in the game, and it's a good way to review words, especially when you're just beginning to learn the language. To return to the settings screen, either tap the back button or press the menu button and tap Settings. The flashcards portion of the game is considerably simpler. You select the number of cards to use and the pool from which they'll be chosen, just as in the matching game. You don't have a preview card here because the cards are always the same size. This auto speak option says whether the words should be spoken as soon as the card is displayed. You can change that in the middle of the game if you like. Tap play and you see the cards.
那儿
The drop-down boxes on the left control the content of the front of the card. The drop-down boxes on the right control the content of the back of the card. Tap the dialogue button to hear the words spoken again.
那儿
Tap the card itself to flip it over. There. And press left or right to cycle through the cards.
叫
Teach.
丈夫
Husband. There are also a few options you might want to use. Press the menu button. You can turn auto speak on and off anytime during the game. New set starts the game over with a new random set of words. Reshuffle starts over with the same words, reshuffled. Unselect probably needs some more explanation. Now, this option is available only if you're using the pool of individually selected words, the fourth option when you're selecting the pool of words. What it does is remove the word from the current game and also unselects it in the pool itself. This lets you remove words that you're already familiar with so you can concentrate on others. And that should just about conclude the tutorial. I do want to add that this was a family effort. I did the programming, but my wife helped me design the game, test it, and develop the content. Even my kids helped test it and select the words, not just for this game, but for other versions of FlashMatch we're developing. So check back in the market from time to time for more of our apps. Thanks, and I hope you enjoy FlashMatch.